There we go. Yeah, to reset the picture when the recording just, no. Okay, now we're recording. Here we go. This is Kate Sanders. I'm so privileged, so honored to speak with you this morning. I was wondering if I could just turn it over to you to explain what's transpired over the last few days in terms of your willingness to, your invitation to speak, and then your willingness to finally speak out, and what occurred in the run up to this video and your presence on television last night.
Yeah, well, you don't know me well, but anytime I have an opportunity to talk about homeschooling, I usually jump on that. Just because of the current culture, what's been going on in the world, a lot of families are curious. A lot of families are exploring their options, and they need to know that there's people in this community that they can turn to for that. And I think it's also the opportunity to be interviewed by the news station was also a chance to draw more of the public's attention to the fact that the pot has been stirred. People are asking questions, people want answers, and there are answers. It's just that the media does not want to embrace that and does not want to share those answers. And I experienced that firsthand yesterday. You know, the story that they ran was about the declining numbers in enrollment in the Rochester Public School District, which is something I happen to know a lot about because, you know, I've accidentally become one of those people in Rochester that families come to when they're considering homeschooling. So on average, I meet with probably 1 to 2 families a week that have reached out to me and said, "Hey, I want my kids out of these schools and I don't know what to do next. Can you help me?" So I reached out to Sydney and I said, "Hey, I have some experiences that may be of interest to you." And she responded right away and said, "Let's do this. Can you be on a call in 10 minutes?" And I said, "Absolutely." And so the first question, the big question she asked me in that interview is, why are parents pulling their kids out of school? And I answered her very honestly. And you have to keep in mind, there's no skin in the game for me here. I do run a homeschool co op. I don't make a penny off of that co op. If it fell and crumbled, you know, I would just move on with my life and continue homeschooling my kids and it would be fine. The reason I am passionate about what I do with this co op is because I care about these kids, not just my kids, but the future of our country, the kids that my kids are going to be running this country with, right? Like, so even as a homeschooler, I care what's going on in the schools. I care what's going on at the school board meetings. I care. And I want to see things change in such a way that these kids are growing up to be healthy, happy, well-adjusted adults that have something to contribute to society. So, anyway, when she asked me that question, there were two primary answers. And one of them you saw in her news report, and that is the pandemic. I think the pandemic was the catalyst for a lot of people to finally make the switch. Um, Distance learning really messed with families. I don't have to explain that. Scheduling in and of itself was an issue. Parents trying to figure out how to balance work and their child's education, which suddenly they are unexpectedly responsible for. So that was a challenge in and of itself. But what Sydney didn't tell you that I said about that in that news report is that distance learning helped parents to see, whoa, what's going on here? And say, whoa, I can do this myself. In fact, I think I could do it better. So distance learning, the school board sort of shot themselves in the foot, right? Because what they don't
Right.
realize is that they inadvertently gave these parents reason to believe that they can successfully educate their children. So a lot of families went through that and the back and forth of distance learning and being in schools and masking their poor kids. I'm sorry, I have very strong feelings about that. Children should not be masked. We could get into the reasons, but we won't today. Masking their kids, the bullying, kids are being bullied not just by their peers, but by their teachers for not getting the you know what. That
Hmm.
should not be happening either. It's completely unacceptable for a child to come home in tears over
Yes.
the way their teacher is publicly humiliating them for a decision that in some cases isn't even their own. It's their parents, as it should be. Again, separate topic. So, you know, distance learning, these kids came home, they were forced to, and it woke the parents up. Thank God it woke the parents up. So then they come to me because they hear about my co-op and they say, what are my options? What do I do here and how do I do it? And so we sit down and we lay all those options out. We discuss the whole spectrum from public school to, homeschool purists like I am, where I put together all my curriculum myself and I fully control what my kids are learning and when they're learning it. So we discuss all of those options. So anyway, COVID did help get people, thinking about it. Um, but that's not really at the root of the issue here. The root of the issue, are you still with me? Um,